Mo Salah is only in 24% of teams right now, and this is one of the best ever FPL assets we have seen. So in this video, I'm going to tell you why managers are avoiding him, but importantly, give you an FPL draft that includes him that I really think we need to consider, and something that I might opt for game week 1. So make sure you do drop a like on this video, make sure you do smash that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. So we need to remind ourselves how ridiculously consistent Mo Salah is from an FPL perspective. He had that outrageous season in 2017-2018 with 303 points. And you can see ever since that, this man has broke 200 FPL points comfortably. And last season in particular, a season that Liverpool were really inconsistent, and a season where a lot of managers thought that Mo Salah wasn't FPL value, he still comfortably broke the 200 FPL point barrier and was the highest scoring FPL midfielder in the game. So we need to remember that this is a player that even in the moments where Liverpool are struggling, he still steps up and delivers the points. And with the signings that Liverpool have made, with the feeling that we are getting with the likes of Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz kicking on this season, I really do think that Mo Salah is going to continue his trend of scoring over 200 FPL points. The question is, can we squeeze him into our teams? Because clearly this is an asset that is going to comfortably beat the 200 point bracket, which a lot of midfielders don't ever in their time in the Premier League. And taking a look at the underlying numbers of Mo Salah last season, we can see here that Mo Salah between game weeks 1 and 27, he was averaging an XG of 0.54 per 90 and an actual goal output of 0.43 per 90. Now, over this period, I think a lot of FPL managers and general Liverpool fans would say that this was one of their toughest periods in a Liverpool shirt. This part of the season, Liverpool really weren't picking up results, and clearly Salah was still delivering in a team that weren't playing their best. Now, in game week 28 to 38, small changes were made to the Liverpool team. We saw a better version of the Liverpool team, and that of Mo Salah. His XG increased to 0.86 per 90, and his actual goal output increased to 0.74 per 90. But what I think is really impressive about these underlying numbers for Mo Salah is even when Liverpool aren't performing, he still steps up and posts ridiculous underlying numbers. And to me, that suggests that no matter what kind of Liverpool we get going into this new season, we know that Salah is still going to be a consistent performer in that team. And importantly, his minutes are going to be regular in that team. So at 12.5 million, again, it's a lot of money for an FPL midfielder, but we know, I think he is outside of the team. He is one of those rare players that even if the team's bad, he will step up and deliver week in, week out. And when they're good, and he posts these sort of underlying numbers, he's then at that Erling Haaland level and completely justifies that 12.5 million price bracket. And I think it's really handy for us to compare Mo Salah to the other FPL midfielders of last season, because once again, some people have different opinions on Mo Salah in Liverpool, but for me, it felt like a very underwhelming season for Liverpool. But looking at these numbers, Mo Salah here per 90 minutes, his expected FPL points was 6.9 per 90, which is better than any other midfielder by a considerable distance. Kevin De Bruyne second there at 6.06, Rashford at 6.05. And this is Marcus Rashford, who a lot of us were saying was absolutely essential. And yes, that was because of his price. But from an output perspective, we were watching him thinking to ourselves, this guy, we cannot go without him. But clearly, Mo Salah continued to blow these assets out of the water week in, week out. And you can see from his XG per 90 as well at 0.64. Just some ridiculous numbers that he was posting in a Liverpool shirt. And it's just a reminder for a lot of people out there that while the price is extortionate and premium, he completely justifies it because he is so much better than any other asset out there. It's just all about whether we can get him into our FPL teams and the other sacrifices that we need to make along the way. But based on these numbers last season, his shots per 90, his shots on target per 90, and his general goal threat is just the best of the bunch. And of course, when we're considering an FPL option, while the underlying stats are incredibly important, they aren't really anything without the fixtures to go alongside them. And while Liverpool have a little bit of a difficult fixture in game week 1 away against Chelsea, which is, to be honest with you, quite a tough one to call, the fixtures between game weeks 1 and game week 6, I would still argue are decent fixtures. And that is backed up by the Fantasy Football Fix projected points. 4.9 in game week 1. Then that fantastic game week 2 fixture at home against Bournemouth, which is a lot of the argument why we want Mo Salah in our teams. Having an investment in game week 2 at home against Bournemouth feels like a really important part of the season where they could beat them 7-0 once again, that big scoreline. And I think we all want a piece of that pie, and Mo Salah is clearly the best option in that team. So with 7.6 projected points in game week 2, he would be an amazing differential to have into your FPL teams. And after that, you can see his projected points consistently are above 5.5. So he is, underlying stats-wise, fantastic. But importantly, the fixtures to go alongside it are really, really good. Now, again, we're taking the underlying numbers from last season. We have nothing to suggest going into this year. But I just think with the history that he has in the game and the consistency that he puts out, I think we can look back at these underlying stats and the fixtures that he has going forward and suggest that he is going to be, again, a fantastic FPL option. We just need to build a draft that he can be in. And I've just built one that I think we need to check out. So no doubt the moment that you guys have been waiting for regarding the Salah draft. And here it is, which I really do think is well balanced. Now, looking at this team, you can see we've gone for the 4.5 million goalie keeper and Flecken. We get the nice balance of the defence. We can still get Luke Shaw, Estupiñán and Gabriel with a 4.5 million defender on our bench. For that one, I've gone for Levi Colwill, as I do expect him to start ahead of game week 1 and those great fixtures going forward. So we have the balance here. We have the 5.5 million defender and we have the 2.5 million defenders. So on the face of it, we're not sacrificing too much. The clear absentee in that defence is going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. But I really do think if you are going for a Haaland-Salah draft, it is almost impossible to build a Haaland-Salah Trent Alexander-Arnold draft. So we need to make sacrifices along the way. And I think if you are going to have a Liverpool investment, it has to be Mo Salah. You can't go Mo Salah and Trent. I just think there are too many little pieces of the puzzle that you can't put together when you are building your draft. So Trent is a sacrifice, but I feel very comfortable with that, with the fact that we actually have Mo Salah in our team. Now, looking at the midfield, honestly, I think this midfield is so well balanced. And it's something that I'm looking at right now thinking, maybe I go for this ahead of game week 1. So we got Mo Salah in at 12.5 million, importantly for that game week 2 fixture against Bournemouth. But what I love about having Mo Salah in our teams is that you can come down to any player in the game. So right now, for example, we are looking at our team thinking, maybe we want to upgrade a defender or maybe we want to upgrade a forward later down the line. And if Mo Salah doesn't prove to be FPL value in those opening weeks, we can simply bring him down to any option, a Bruno Fernandes, for example, in game week 3, and use that additional 3 million to invest elsewhere in this team. So I really like that as an FPL strategy. And once again, we have what I would argue the best Arsenal asset in Bukayo Saka. We have the best Man United option in Rashford and still have those fantastic value midfielders in Matoma and Mbeumo at 6.5 million. So I don't think we're making any sacrifices in this midfield, knowing that we can downgrade Mo Salah to any option in the game. And looking at that front two, Haaland, of course, is absolutely essential for our teams. But we have Evan Ferguson at 6 million. Now, I would say this is probably the biggest sacrifice that you need to make with a Mo Salah draft. And it's going to be not having the luxury of an 8 million forward. The likes of Gabriel Jesus and Watkins, I do like the price bracket 80 million because I think there are some really good options out there. And what I also do like is that if you go for the 8 million forward, you can downgrade it to the likes of Nkunku and Darwin, who I think are really exciting picks. Ones that you can't really start the season with, but those that I think inevitably we are going to move towards at some point. So Evan Ferguson at 6 million, I really do think could be the value forward in the game. But I think we are a little bit risky on his game time because of the likes of João Pedro and Danny Welbeck alongside Undav. So I think with Evan Ferguson, if we get an impression that he is going to be starting for Brighton and their main man, then this draft is absolutely on the cards for our teams. Like, I think Evan Ferguson could be up there with the other forwards that I mentioned previously. I think he could even outscore the likes of Gabriel Jesus to what we saw last season. But it is going to be very, very important on a 6 million forward emerging this season. I'm hoping it is Evan Ferguson, because if it is the case, I honestly think this draft is going to become a very popular one going into game week 1. And of course, we need to balance this squad out with a 4 million defender in the likes of Baldock and a 4.5 million forward in Cameron Archer. So this is the Mo Salah draft. I really do think that this is a draft that I'm going to consider going into game week 1. You have to make sacrifices along the way. I get it. But what we do get with Mo Salah is that fantastic game week 2 fixture against Bournemouth, and the comfortability and flexibility of knowing that we can downgrade him to any midfielder in the game. So I think we're going to move closer and closer to this team the closer we get to game week 1. But let me know your thoughts in the comments on this. I think Mo Salah is going to creep closer into our thoughts and maybe get to 30% ownership by that game week 1 deadline. Yes, guys, okay, that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope it has provided some value. Shout out to Fantasy Football Fix for all of the information that I did put in this video. And that just leaves me to say, have a fantastic day. Make sure you do drop a like on the video and smash that subscribe button. Check out my most recent video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.